Our house. Thank you, everybody, and welcome. Thanks for coming to the show and listening to us on the radio. We really appreciate you. I am Ray Smith. I have Sandra Johnson, and we also have our guest host, Danielle Johnson, here this afternoon. How you guys doing?
Good.
We thought that we talk about the world of insects and varmints in our Tucson community and how to combat them in your home and on your property. How'd that sound, Rigo?
It sounds great. It sounds great. I'll tell you what, I'm here with the Johnson Smith team. I got the whole family here.
Almost.
We have
Almost
one
the
more?
whole
What
family.
are we
There's
missing?
one more.
Oh, one more? Okay.
We're missing Derek, but
All right. Well,
he's not on the
Derek-
team, so we can't talk about
All right,
him.
Derek, if you're out there, you need to come next time.
We're working on that.
In case you guys didn't know who that was, that's Rigo Arce. He is the owner of Rigo Pest Prevention. Continuously great company in the city of Tucson, taking care of your pest needs.
Yes, also an award-winning company. How many years in a row?
Well, with the Reader's Choice Awards, Tucson voting for their favorites in a bunch of categories, we've won 4 years in a row as Tucson's favorite pest control company. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
We can tell that. You can tell that we sit there and hear you talk. and
I
stuff.
love it.
No
That's
one
great.
loves. I thought that. I didn't think this. I don't know how this man loved weeds and insects and varmints so much. He loved them so much that he's going to make sure that when he's protecting your home, he's not even trying to kill them. He's trying to move them away from your house.
We want them gone. You know, I was at a B&I event once, and we had to go around and, do a quick intro, maybe a topic that we...
Yeah.
And so I started off by saying, I do weed. And I forgot the S. And everyone looked at me, and I said, now, wait a minute. To be clear, weeds. And then someone shouted out, we're not going to judge. It's okay. But I'll never forget that. That was hilarious.
I was going to say, for those of you that don't know Rigo, he definitely did not mean that the way that they heard it. Because he's like Mr. Healthy, and I imagine everything you do is clean living.
Well, the shirts and the pants are color coordinated, and everything's hanging a certain way. The refrigerator, it's all there.
Yeah,
It's all
I
there.
can see that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, now that we're talking about weeds, we were talking about that there's a big problem with weeds right now.
Man, they've exploded. This winter rain has been wonderful.
Right.
In the end, it's good for us, right? But it definitely brings out nuisance things, and that they're called pests, and one of those are weeds. And weeds compete with space. You want that beautiful landscape to just shine, and all your ornamentals, decorative rock, your water feature. And when you've got these unsightly weeds, that's competition. We don't want that. So, yeah, they're exploding right now. We're definitely getting a ton of calls. The HOA, they're not, they can be very unfriendly about those weeds on your front
They
lawn.
sure can.
They send those really well-crafted letters, and we love getting them, right? So that's usually what picks up the phone is we get a phone call and someone says, yeah, I just got this nasty letter from the HOA. So we're pretty busy. A lot of the companies out there, pest control companies that do weed control, we are definitely working hard right now to knock down those weeds.
What's the weed treatment? What are they trying to do when you're dealing with the weeds?
Yeah, real simple. Weeds, two big things. One, you've got what's called the pre-emergent, before the weeds come, and that's a big deal. That's going to save, some cost. It's going to certainly save some money. It's also going to save on the back if you are a do-it-yourselfer,
Right?
Because
Right.
if those weeds come up and you're out there pulling them, that's not fun. Pre-emergent is designed to prevent the seeds from germinating. These seeds are way deep in the ground. And the idea is to, get an application on that soil, soak it in real deep so that product gets down underneath the surface level, and then it's going to kill those germinating seeds.
Right.
So when those rains hit, the weeds don't come up. So that's pre-emergent. And then should the weeds come up, you've got what's called post-application, and that post meaning after, right? And so now the weeds are up. And so, everyone's familiar with a, Roundup or something like that. You
Right.
go to Home Depot. And so what you're doing there is you're doing a topical application on the surface, and you're basically killing those weeds that are starting to pop up. You got to get to them early, though. Once they reach a certain size, if you spray weeds that are like 6 inches or taller, you're then going to have brown twigs. So
Right.
you're going to need to
Right.
pull them anyway.
Right.
So you've got to get to those weeds. As soon as you see your lawn starting to get those little green speckles, get on it.
So do you do a routine service for weeds the same as you do for pest control?
We do, yeah. We do a quarterly maintenance every 3 months. We walk and, I like to say police the area, walk the property, look for any potential germinating, seeds that are popping up. But the client at any time during that 3-month period, they're out in their yard and they see some weeds starting to pop up. They just give us a call. We come back and treat. So it's a 90-day warranty is what it is. Yeah.
You talked about pre-emergence, and the thing you told me was that it requires water. Did you explain that it has to have water for it to work?
Yeah. So when you apply the pre-emergent on top of the surface of the desert floor, it's going to just sit there. You've got to push that active ingredient is ultimately what we're trying to do here. Technically speaking, you want that active ingredient to get down deep where those seedlings are.
Right.
And so in order to do that, water is a medium, if you would, that pushes that product, that active ingredient, down below the surface. So you have to water it in. A good heavy rain can do that, but you can't trust the rains. If you know it's going to rain, the rain will provide that source of, mechanical push down. But watering a pre-emergent application is pretty critical to be effective.
There are a lot of us gardeners here in Tucson that really enjoy having, especially in the winter, you can have all kinds of stuff growing really well. If we're starting to see some of those weeds popping up as gardeners, what areas are safe to use pre-emergent, what's not? If someone did come to you with a problem, what kind of advice would you give?
Yeah, you have to be real careful there, obviously with gardens with, edible plants, if you would. The labels are pretty strict on that. You're going to have to mechanically pull those. You can't do an application with an herbicide where there are edible plants. And so definitely cultivating that soil, keeping it nice and fresh, always, being manicured. Mm-hmm. The moment you see something starting to sprout, you're going to go out there and begin to pull it so you can keep it nice and clean. But yeah, you want to keep herbicides away from the gardens.
What kind of a cost is there to doing that weed control?
Are you talking about like a specific dollar amount or just
generally like a budget? Can you give me a range?
So, an application of a pre-emergent is going to run roughly $175, $195 to $215, just depending on, it's all about square footage.
Right.
How much area are we going to be actually applying to the surface? With that, we do provide a follow-up knockdown. So should anything emerge, mm-hmm. What we're saying is we're going to guarantee that nothing will emerge, but if it does, knocking those weeds down or killing those sprouting weeds is included in that price. So, $175, $250 is kind of a window.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the larger side of the
so it could even
yard
be higher
stuff.
than that.
So for us, it may be more than that. Yeah. So another question I had is you're talking about, maybe being able to take advantage of the rains. For someone who's in an area where you have water that's moving during the rains, it tends to move more quickly. Is that going to just take the product and wash it away?
Yeah, that we have to be real careful with that. Runoff is a big deal in the pest control industry, and so an applicator needs to evaluate the landscape and the terrain and, really what we call the grade.
Yeah.
Grade is the ground level, and how does that grade slope? Yes, you must be mindful of where the application is made and how grade flows and adjust accordingly. Again, intelligent pest control, folks.
Hey,
it's got to be intelligent.
We are here with Rigo, the owner of Rigo Pest Preventions.